Hey there, and welcome. I'm really glad you're here. This video is part of a series created for students like you by the team at the Community Partnership of the Ozarks. I'm just here as a guide, someone who's worked with a lot of young people and cares deeply about the choices you're making today and the future you're building. Now, let me be super clear up front. This isn't about rules, lectures, or scare tactics. This is about you, your life, your goals, and how powerful you already are. Over the next hour, we're going to have some real talk about alcohol, not to shame or judge, but to give you the truth, to clear up the myths, and most importantly, to give you space to think about what you want your life to look like. Because every day, whether you realize it or not, you're making choices that shape your future, and we believe you deserve honest information, practical tools, and encouragement to make choices that actually support the kind of life you want. So if you've ever felt curious, unsure, or even pressured when it comes to alcohol, you're not alone. And if you've ever felt like no one really gets what you're going through, you're also not alone. This is about real life, real choices, and your real power to choose the path that works best for you. So let's get started. Now, before we jump in, I'd like to just get a quick snapshot of what you already know and what you might learn today. This is not a test with right or wrong answers. It's just a short check in to see where we're starting from. You won't be graded, and your answers, they're anonymous, but it'll only take about 2 minutes. So go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen with your phone. And once you've submitted your answers, we'll get started. And for those that have paper copies, take just a couple moments to fill this out and hand it in. Then we'll get moving with our conversation today. We're going to talk honestly about alcohol, decision making, and your power to shape the kind of life you want starting today. And I want to be very clear. This isn't a lecture. This isn't just one of those just say no talks. This is real talk about your real life, about pressure, curiosity, expectations, and all the noise you're surrounded by. It's about the stuff no one really teaches you how to handle, like what to do when someone offers you a drink at a party or how to deal with the fear of missing out. And yeah, we're going to talk about alcohol, but not in a shamey way. We're just going to keep it honest because you deserve the truth. Again, this isn't about rules. It's not about being perfect. It's about helping you live your best life. You see, people love to throw around do's and don'ts, but what really matters is that you understand how your choices connect to your goals, your values, and your vision of the future. So this isn't about avoiding consequences just to stay out of trouble. It's about building a life you feel proud of, one where you are in charge. You already have power. Every day, you make choices that shape your story, whether it's how you spend your time, who you hang out with, or what you say yes or no to. You might not always feel it, but you're already influencing your future and the people around you. That's huge. So today's conversation, it's about giving you tools. It's about building your confidence to make the choices that align with who you really are and who you want to become. Take a deep breath. You've got this. Let's keep this conversation going. Take a moment to think back on a decision you made this past week. Did it reflect who you want to be? Why is that? Or why not? All right, let's talk about alcohol. Not the rumors, not what you've seen in movies or on social media, but the actual facts. Because if you're going to make decisions about your life, you deserve real information. So this section is all about understanding what alcohol really is, how it affects your brain and body, and why it's especially important to think twice about it as a teen. This isn't about judgment. It's just about being informed and prepared. This is about truth, science, and you. Because the more you know, the more you can make smart, confident choices for your life. Whether you've already been offered a drink or haven't even thought about it yet, this is information that'll stick with you and help you look out for yourself and the people around you. Let's start with the basics. What is alcohol? At its core, alcohol is a drug, and not just any drug. It's a depressant, meaning it slows things down in your body and your brain. That matters, especially when you're still growing. You'll hear people talk about alcohol like it's no big deal. It's in movies, music, parties. It feels like it's all over the place. But alcohol has real effects, and understanding them is power. So the types of alcohol. Beer usually has about 5% alcohol. Wine has around 12%. But liquor or spirits like vodka, tequila, whiskey, they can be 40% or even more. So a small shot of liquor, that can equal a whole beer in alcohol content. And if you're drinking something mixed, like a fruity cocktail or a seltzer, it can be easy to lose track of how much you're really drinking. And that's where things can sneak up on you. Drinking too much, too fast, it's called binge drinking. And that can lead to alcohol poisoning, blackouts, and risky choices. We'll talk about that soon. But even before we get there, it's important to recognize alcohol changes how your body and brain function, no matter how old you are. Let's start with what happens short term. Even just after one drink, alcohol impacts your decision making, your judgment, your coordination, and your reflexes. That might not sound like a big deal until you're in a situation where you need to think clearly, like driving, making a choice with a friend, or getting home safely. You might feel more relaxed or confident at first. But what's really happening is that your brain's brakes are being turned off, and that can lead to risky situations, sometimes before you even realize it. It's not about being weak. It's about how the drug works, and your brain deserves better than that. Now let's zoom out and look at the long-term effects, especially for people who start drinking young. Here's what we know from brain science. Your brain keeps developing into your mid-20s. One of the last parts to fully mature is the prefrontal cortex. That's the part that helps you make smart decisions, think ahead, and manage impulses. When alcohol enters the picture before your brain is done developing, it can alter how your brain wires itself. It can reduce memory and learning abilities. It can increase the risk of mental health challenges like anxiety or depression. And it can make it harder to manage stress in healthy ways. And it can increase your chances of developing alcohol dependence later in life. So when people say alcohol hits differently when you're still growing, that's not a scare tactic. It is a neurological fact. So why are teens at greater risk than adults when it comes to alcohol? Well, it comes down to your brain and your body still being in progress. Your decision-making system is still developing, and alcohol directly affects that part of the brain. That means the same amount of alcohol can hit harder, stick longer, and do more damage in a teen than in an adult. When you start young, it increases the risk of developing problems with alcohol later in life. That's not meant to scare you. It's just science. The earlier you start, the more your brain adapts to it, and not in a good way. So if you've ever wondered, why is this such a big deal for teens? Now you know. It's because your brain is still writing the manual for how you will handle life. You've got one shot to build it strong. But I want to pause here and say, if someone in your life drinks, or if you've tried drinking yourself, this is not about shame. This is about awareness. You're allowed to reflect and grow. You're allowed to choose differently starting today. So now that we know what alcohol is and how it affects the body, let's talk about something just as important: what we believe about alcohol and how those beliefs are shaped. There's a lot of pressure out there. Sometimes it feels like everyone is drinking, partying, or just going along with it. What if that's not the full picture? In this section, we're going to talk about peer pressure, perception, and what's actually true about teen alcohol use. Let's be real. There are a lot of reasons someone might try alcohol: stress, curiosity, wanting to feel more confident, trying to fit in, feeling like it's just part of being a teenager. If you've ever felt any of that, you're not weird and you're definitely not alone. A lot of teens wrestle with those thoughts. The key is to recognize those feelings for what they are and not let them control your decisions. Because just reacting to pressure isn't the same thing as making a choice. I'll say that again. Reacting to pressure isn't the same thing as making a choice. See, I talked with a student once who said they didn't even want to drink, but they felt like they had to just to avoid being judged. After we talked for a bit, they realized that having a plan and a reason made them feel way more confident. They told me, I started saying, I'm focusing on sports right now, and that shut it down.
I don't drink alcohol.
Because I work too hard for this.
My team relies on me. We really need the win.
You've probably heard it before. Everyone drinks. It's just what people do. But here's the truth. That is a myth. It feels true because the loudest voices often get the most attention. But the truth, most teens don't drink. But when one group makes it look like it's normal or cool, it can trick you into thinking you're the odd one out. But you are not alone. You, my friend, are actually the majority. Let's talk numbers. In many communities across the country, about 4 out of 5 high school students don't drink. And right here in Missouri, it's even more encouraging. Only 10% of high school students reported drinking alcohol in the past month. In Greene County, an incredible 93% of students said they hadn't used alcohol in the past 30 days. That means the majority of teens are already making healthy, alcohol-free choices. You are not alone. Not only that, but 84% of Missouri students believe it's wrong or very wrong for their friends to drink nearly every day. And just 15% think someone their age would be pretty cool or very cool if they drank. So even the perceptions about what's normal or popular, they don't hold up. Most teens aren't drinking, and most teens don't think it's cool either. I want you to imagine something. You're at a party. A friend hands you a drink, and everyone's watching. What do? This is where your beliefs meet real life. Do you follow the crowd? Do you say no? Do you freeze? There's no shame in not knowing. But that's why we're here to talk about this now. So you are ready when it happens. Being prepared for that moment means you're not caught off guard. It means your choices are based off of your values, not someone else's expectations. I want to take a moment. Reflect on that. Think about that. What would your response have been? How do you want to handle that moment or moments just like that? This whole section boils down to this. You have the power to choose what works for you. When you know the truth about what your peers are actually doing, when you understand how pressure works, and when you're honest about your own goals and your own values, that's when you're at your strongest. So let's keep building that strength as we move into the next section of our conversation. Now that we've talked about perception and pressure, let's shift to what can actually happen when alcohol is involved. This section isn't about fear. It's not about shocking you or making you feel guilty. It's about being honest so you can make choices with your eyes wide open. There are real risks, real consequences, real people. So let's talk about it. When alcohol enters the picture, things can go sideways fast. It lowers your inhibition and messes with your ability to think clearly. That opens the door to all kinds of situations you've never planned on. Unsafe situations like physically, emotionally, or socially. Getting in trouble with the law. Underage drinking laws are real. Impaired decisions that can hurt you or someone else. And in extreme cases, alcohol poisoning, which can actually be life-threatening. None of that makes you a bad person. It just shows how alcohol messes with your judgment. That's the risk. And this isn't just theory. From 2019 to 2021, in Missouri, there were 55 fatal crashes and 127 serious injury crashes involving a substance-impaired driver under the age of 21. Those crashes led to 63 deaths and 180 serious injuries. These aren't just numbers. They represent lives forever changed, and they serve as a powerful reminder that choices involving alcohol can have consequences far beyond the moment. Look, this isn't meant to scare you. You've probably already seen some of this happen in real life, on Snapchat, TikTok, in school, in your community. This is about helping you be informed, because when you know what's at stake, you can make better decisions. You can stay in control. You can watch out for your friends. You can step back and say, nah, this isn't worth it. And that one moment of awareness, it can change everything. Here's the tough truth. It only takes one night, one choice, one moment. One drink can lead to driving under the influence, getting into a fight, sending a text you regret, or ending up somewhere unsafe. And sometimes those moments come with consequences that last way longer than the night itself. You don't need 100 chances to get it wrong. That's why your choices matter so much, especially now. Every single person who's ended up in a bad situation from alcohol thought it wouldn't happen to them. They thought they had it under control. They thought just one drink wouldn't matter. They didn't plan on getting hurt, getting caught, or losing someone's trust. But it happened. And it's not because they were stupid or bad. It's because alcohol changes your ability to make good choices. And that is real. Sometimes we feel like nothing bad will ever happen to us. That's normal. You're young, you're strong, you're smart. You've got your whole life ahead of you, but being strong doesn't mean being invincible. It means being aware. It means knowing your limits. It means choosing to protect your future before you're in a risky situation. And you know what? That awareness, that honesty isn't weakness. It's actually leadership. So I want to keep building that mindset as we move forward in our conversation. Again, that awareness, that honesty, it isn't weakness. It's leadership. Okay, so far we've talked about what alcohol is, the pressure around it, and the real risks. Now, let's talk about you. This section is all about empowered choices, not just saying no, but saying yes to the life you actually want, to the person you're becoming. Because every decision you make, no matter how small, is shaping your future. Let's talk about how to make choices that support your goals, your values, and your best self. Every day, You make choices that move you closer to or farther from your goals. Whether it's how you spend your time, who you hang out with, or what you say yes or no to, it all adds up. So ask yourself, what do I want for my life? And are my choices helping me get there? Now, it's not about being perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. When you keep your goals in mind, it becomes way easier to make confident, clear choices. Let's get practical for a second. Saying no doesn't have to be big, dramatic moment. It can be as simple and chill as, I'm good. I've got to be sharp tomorrow. Not my thing. Or even just a smile and a head shake. You don't owe anyone an explanation. And saying no doesn't mean you're boring. It means you're grounded. You are not missing out. You are showing up for yourself. Here's the truth. Making healthy choices doesn't make you weird. It makes you smart. It means you're thinking long term. It means you're confident enough to choose what's right for you, even if other people don't get it. And remember, most teens aren't drinking anyways. So if someone tries to make you feel like you're the odd one out, they're probably the one who's misinformed. So choosing to protect your future, that's strength. Sometimes it's not just about saying no. It's about planning ahead. Think about it like you would for a test, a game, or a job interview. You prepare so you can do your best. Have a plan for situations where alcohol might show up. Know how you'll leave if it gets uncomfortable. Text a friend you trust ahead of time. Have a signal with your ride. Know which friend will have your back, because when you plan ahead, you stay in control. And that's how you protect your peace and your future. Last thing, your circle matters. Who you hang out with plays a huge role in the choices you make. So take a second and think, who supports my goals? Who makes me feel safe, seen, and strong? That is your crew. The people around you can either pull you down or lift you up. So choose the ones who want to see you win, the ones who respect your boundaries and have your back. Because you don't have to do this alone. And you are way stronger when you've got people walking beside you. So here we are, coming full circle. You've heard the facts. You've reflected on the pressure, the risk, and the choices. Now it's time to look ahead. Because this isn't just about alcohol. It's about your future and the power you already have to shape it. You don't have to wait for some big moment to start becoming who you want to be. That moment is now. Take a second and think. What does your best self look like? Not the version of you that's trying to impress everyone. Not the version that feels like they have to fit in, but you, the real you, confident, kind, steady, and growing. What does that person stand for? What do they care about? How do they show up in tough moments? That version of you, it's already in there. This isn't about creating someone new. It's about revealing what's already true. Okay, let's be real. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has it all together. But you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right every time, but you can be intentional. That means thinking before acting, checking in with yourself, asking, is this choice supporting the life I want to live. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. And that is a game changer. It is not about perfection, it's about direction. Let's slow down here for a minute. Take a moment and really think. What are they like? How do they treat people? What do they care about? How do they handle pressure? What kind of life are they trying to build? Okay, I want to share something with you. The cool thing about life is that every day is a blank page. Whatever happened yesterday doesn't define you. You get to start fresh. You get to grow. You get to rewrite the story if you need to. So even if you've made choices you're not proud of or you feel stuck in a pattern, just know this. You are not your mistakes. You are the author, and the pen is still in your hand. Let's reframe something. Power doesn't just come from saying no to what hurts. It also comes from saying yes to what matters, saying yes to your peace, saying yes to your values, saying yes to your goals, and yes to becoming someone you're proud of. When you start saying yes to those things, the other choices get easier because you know what you're walking toward, not just what you're avoiding. Before we move into our final wrap up, I want to invite you to reflect for just a moment. If you're going to make one promise to yourself, just one, what would it be? Maybe it's, I promise to protect my peace. I promise to think before I act. I promise to show up for the people who show up for me. I promise to be kind to myself as I grow. I promise to always stay true to my heart. Whatever it is, it's yours. So take a moment right now and complete this sentence. Dear me, one promise I will keep is to. Your future isn't something that just happens. Your future is something you build one choice at a time. All right, you've made it this far. Thank you. We have covered a lot. The facts about alcohol, the pressure you might feel, the risks, and the power of your own choices. And now, as we wrap things up, I just want to leave you with a few things to carry forward. Things I hope will stick with you long after this video ends. Here are 3 key takeaways I want you to remember. Alcohol affects teens differently. Your brain is still developing. Alcohol hits harder and sticks longer than it would in an adult, and that matters. 2, most teens don't drink. The idea that everyone's doing it just isn't true. You're not alone in making healthy choices. If anything, you're actually in the majority. And 3, your choices shape your future. Not in some big dramatic way, but in the everyday, little by little kind of way. What you choose today sets the tone for who you're becoming tomorrow. And that's the kind of power I hope you walk away owning. Here's something else that absolutely matters. You are not alone in this. Whether you're navigating pressure, dealing with stress, or just trying to figure out who your crew is, you don't have to go through it alone. You don't have to go through it by yourself. There are people who care. There are people you can talk to. That might be your school counselor, a trusted adult, a friend, or even a helpline like the crisis text line. Asking for help is not weakness, it is strength. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You just have to keep showing up. Before we wrap up, I'd love to hear what stuck with you. Just like at the beginning, this is a quick check-in, not a quiz or a grade. It helps us understand what messages made a real impact today. So go ahead and scan this QR code on the screen. It's just a few short questions and should only take a minute. Thank you for taking that serious. Your answers help make sure conversations like this stay real, stay useful, and meaningful for people just like you. Now let's close out with one final thought. You are already enough. You don't have to prove your worth by fitting in. You don't have to drink, perform, or pretend to be something you're not. You have the right to protect your peace, to say yes to what matters, to build a future that reflects who you really are. So keep choosing what lifts you up. Keep making decisions that reflect your goals, your values, and your truth. Because your future really is your power. And I believe you're going to do something incredible with it.